Thank you. Hope everyone is having a great time at Discover in Barcelona. It's so exciting to be here another year, getting to meet customers, getting to talk to people, getting to hear what's happening in the industry. Welcome. Welcome to the session. Thanks for joining us today. It's a very exciting time in the industry, and it's a great time to talk about what's happening with compute. And so for the next several minutes, I'm going to discuss some of the IT trends that are shaping server design, performance, and efficiency. So let's get started. So we've heard about digital transformation. And there is no surprise to anyone that the world is changing. I jokingly said to someone, I remember when people started saying, hey, let me Google that. And now where we are is people are saying, oh, let me chat GPT that. So things are changing very rapidly. And of course, because of that, the compute industry is also innovating very quickly. Competitive pressure is more intense than ever, and organizations are being asked to accelerate and to do it faster and to do it more. And across industries, customers are on a digital transformation journey. And this journey has become key in order to remain competitive and to grow your business. A couple of articles that I read recently referred to digital transformation as ongoing reinvention. Think about that for a moment. Let that sink in. We're so accustomed to projects. We start a project, we reach the conclusion of the project, and then we take a sigh of relief. Now imagine now with digital transformation being ongoing reinvention and ongoing reinventing of what we do. So in other words, a never-ending project. With digital transformation, we've also seen a shift in a mindset that data has become a more valuable asset. And digital transformation is enabling organizations to unlock that data value through faster insights in order to drive better decision-making, improve customer experiences, and to increase customer loyalty, and finally, possibly opening up some new revenue opportunities for new products or services. But there are challenges. The first is distributed computing. We know the world is hybrid, and it brings a complexity of hybrid structure with resources and assets in the cloud, in the data center, at the edge, and everywhere in between. Compute has moved closer to where the data resides and where the data is created and stored, and centralized compute is very quickly becoming no more of an effective architecture. And at the same time, distributed compute, it's kind of sprawl. So it can no longer be managed with legacy tools and managed in the same way it was before. You actually need tools to be able to handle that distributed compute and be able to manage it. The second is related to cybersecurity. Cybersecurity threats continue to impact businesses. Now with distributed compute at the edge and in the cloud, that increases the challenge as it relates to security even more. The threat landscape continues to grow, and security, while it was once, hey, that's a nice thing to have, now security has become a must-have. Third is the applications. Now, there's no doubt that the applications today are no longer the applications that we saw 20 years ago. It's a different ballgame. So the application landscape is evolving quickly. And because of that, it is increasingly driving a broad range of compute performance in order to support those applications. And the applications and the workload requirements are causing this and contributing to a shift where it used to be okay to have general purpose compute, And now, more and more, and you'll see it here at the event, more and more there is a focus on task-specific compute and performance. And then let's add on top of that emerging workloads like AI. So there is no slowing down. It continues to demand even more and more. And then finally, sustainability. So as disclosure standards come into effect around the globe, and then there are challenges to kind of comprehend and understand that complexity, and then how do you stay aligned with those standards? An interesting note is, outside of manufacturing, IT is the #1 source of carbon emissions. And your organizations will be coming to IT, looking to IT for how can we make some improvements? How can we help reach our net zero goals for meeting sustainability? Now, let's go a little bit deeper into the drivers. So we know data is, we've already talked about it. We want to go deeper. Some great statistics here. It's been estimated that there will be 150 billion edge devices worldwide by 2025. And greater than 50% of the data will be created and processed outside of the data center. Now, recently I heard another statistic that another analyst is saying 75% of the data will be outside of the data center. Regardless of whose numbers win, it is a tremendous amount of data. And as more organizations accelerate their transformation, and they put compute, whether it's at the edge, at retail, remote locations, there's more compute to manage, there's more data being created, and then there's more action, or more data to be actioned on, and then there's more and more, and it just keeps continuing on. And this is also not without its challenges. You have security, compliance, complexity, cost to manage, and then of course, let's not forget sustainability. And for security threats, first, the statistics on this slide are actually quite sobering, because the security threat is real and it continues to increase. With the average number of attacks and the impact from these attacks, it remains a constant concern with organizations that they need to protect their infrastructure against physical and cyber attacks. Now let's factor in distributed computing, and the issue gets even more complex and gets bigger, and it's more of a challenge to manage. Regardless of your industry or the geography, cyber attacks are a constant threat to your business. And one incident, you'll see the number on the slide, one incident can have a significant impact on your business. The next part we want to talk about is today's applications. And I've already mentioned the applications today are not what they were 20 years ago. Applications are demanding more, they're producing more data. You know, it's interesting, I thought we have applications that are producing more data, and then we have applications that are resource hungry in order to do something and action on that data. And it just continues. It's a vicious cycle. Our data-first world is increasingly data-intensive, AI-powered, and it is accelerating. According to IDC, global data is expected to more than double in size from 2022 to 2026. And today's applications have this insatiable appetite for more resources. And as organizations face more pressure in order to expand their compute, their connectivity needs, many are facing constraints such as space, power, and cooling. Some of you may be experiencing that today. For some organizations, if they continue on their current course of IT growth, they may run out of space and the time to grow while making the transition to a more efficient infrastructure. And oh, this is a great topic, aging infrastructure. Aging infrastructure continues to be a challenge because many customers continue to want to hold on to what they have. They want to squeeze out as much ROI as they can out of their servers. maybe they feel very strong that they want to hold on to it from a sustainability purpose. Uptime Institute did a study and reached the conclusion that 40% of servers are over 5 years old. They perform 7% of all work, and here's the kicker: consume 66% of the data center power. Now you may say, oh, that's a stat, that's a survey. I have actually talked to customers who wear a badge of honor that they have servers that are more than 5 years old. I have talked with customers in understanding where they want to go with their infrastructure and where they want to go in the future. And they've said, oh, I'm okay where I am. I'm looking to get 7 or 8 years of life out of my servers. 7 to 8 years. Now, the interesting part is we want to get 7 to 8 years out of it, but I have workloads and applications that are requiring more and more compute. So what do I have to do? I can't retire my older compute because I have these workloads that are demanding, so then it becomes a cycle. Well, what do? I need to move. I need to move off of the compute, but yet I want to keep them. But yet they're demanding more resources. I can't do anything, so I'm kind of stuck. And sustainability is also, there are questions that CIOs are facing around sustainability. The slide's showing a few examples. For example, kind of goes on what I just said. So how do I maintain the innovation in order for me to grow and to be competitive, but also I need to achieve my sustainability goals, but while I'm dealing with a resource-hungry IT world? What do I do? What is the true impact of a workload or a service across the edge or cloud now and then over time? How do I find the information for that? And then who do I go to? Who can provide the expertise to help me with my IT asset management and help me to make the right decisions of what I need to do going forward? When we designed our next-gen compute, we listened to customers' challenges, and we looked at where the market was going. And HPE ProLiant Gen 11 is engineered for that hybrid world that I mentioned. It's engineered for the hybrid world for distributed computing and deployment as a backbone throughout your operations, whether it's at the edge, it's at the data center, or to the cloud. With simplified management, easy to use, simplified management, and an automated cloud operating experience, no matter where the compute lives. Again, embracing that distributed compute in that hybrid environment. With cutting-edge security built in and optimized for performance. With HPE GreenLake for compute ops management, we introduced that intuitive cloud operating experience so you can simplify the operations and then effortlessly manage your compute. That enables modernizing lifecycle management with cloud simplicity, enables you to unify compute management with a centralized console for self-service operations, automates tasks. This is the one that customers love. Automates tasks for efficiency, reducing the manual effort, whether it's in deployment or helping you to achieve simplified support and lifecycle management. And here's the thing that customers love: to be able to give time back to your staff who works on nights and weekends because they're doing manual intervention and managing that infrastructure. And then securely bring that cloud agility to a distributed compute environment. With unified compute management, you can now easily onboard thousands of servers, thousands of distributed devices, wherever they are, and you have the global visibility of your server environment from a single console with enterprise-level security, saving you both time in order to manage your environment and the risk. Firmware updates. Anybody here love firmware updates? I have not met one customer that loves firmware updates. I see heads nodding. I see people shaking their head. Firmware updates are the #1 pain point for server management. And with HPE Compute Ops Management, you can achieve 5x faster server firmware update. Bringing in enterprise security and consistent compliant processes to your distributed compute infrastructure. And then with Compute Ops Management, gaining new insights with the new sustainability port that allows customers to see the carbon footprint emissions, the energy consumption, whether it's just the energy consumption and cost for the individual server or for your entire environment. With compute, you need strong security. You need trusted security as you modernize your infrastructure to transform your business. And many of you are aware of the Gen 10 and the Gen 10 Plus servers, the innovations that we engineered in those servers around security. And we continue to lead, we continue to innovate, to build a fundamental zero trust lifecycle approach. First, there is our custom ASIC, our BMC, for silicon root of trust that protects millions of lines of code on over 4 million servers around the world. And with ProLiant Gen 11, we are now including platform certificates and IDEV ID, which is enabling authentication before the server is ever allowed to be booted up into your environment. What do you mean? You control whether that server is able to connect into your environment. You've already made the decision, you have validated, and with your network infrastructure, you're able to decide whether a server is safe and allowed to be provisioned and booted up into your environment, or whether it needs to stay offline, giving you that added layer of comfort and security in your environment. Second, we extended the silicon root of trust to the partner ecosystem. Why is this important? We've always been able to control the server itself, but what about the options? Specifically, which options are the most critical? It's the ones in the data path, right? So we've extended this partner to the partner ecosystem. Our Gen 11 servers are now authenticating the network interface cards and the storage controllers with the DMTF's industry standard security protocol and data model, or SPDM. And the ILO is now talking to those devices and authenticating and forcing those devices to provide and ensure that their identity is who they are and that they have the right firmware. Third is our trusted and protected infrastructure begins with a secure supply chain, which is an extra layer of security that starts at the manufacturing floor. HPE's trusted supply chain provides our customers the optimized protection, whether it's starting with the suppliers, the material from the suppliers moving to the factory floor, and even in transit out to the customer, providing a layer of security that gives you that peace of mind. Now let's talk about the optimized performance. HPE ProLiant Gen 11 was designed to deliver the advanced performance that a modern data center demands. And while designing the new servers, we had 3 key areas of focus. First was the need to deliver new, better levels of efficiency to power the applications at the right economics for the data center and across the edge. Second, the new generation brings optimal performance for demanding applications that require the most advanced graphics and data acceleration. And then third, we want to help you address the new wave of data centers with an open approach This includes delivering efficiencies around cloud-native applications, as well as enhancing infrastructure as code, building on decades of commitment to industry standards from HPE. We talked earlier about the aging infrastructure challenges. With the optimized performance that is now demanded by your workloads, moving to the latest generations of servers will reduce power and space consumption while also giving you the latest security features in the servers. Now, we already talked about the threat being real and the cyber attacks, and it is imperative more than ever that you are moving to the latest and greatest servers that are delivering the best security that you can have. And look at those power savings. You can go from a Gen 8 to a Gen 11 that enables an 11-to-1 consolidation ratio with 90% power savings per year. You can go from Gen 9 to Gen 11. It delivers an 8-to-1 consolidation ratio and a 65-cent power savings per year. So instead of asking yourself, hey, I don't know if I can afford this, the real question is, can you afford not to? Is anyone here in the room not willing to take a 90% savings in power? We're talking about taking dollars or euros and putting them back into your data center, putting it back into your business unit and reinvesting it elsewhere in the business. As I mentioned, a lot of customers, they want to hold on to those servers, either because they want to squeeze all the ROI out of it, or they're really interested in more focused on the sustainability and the impact, because what do I do with my assets? If you're asking that question right now, if you're thinking that, HPE Financial Services has solutions that they offer around sustainable IT asset management. They will help you bring together your multi-IT, multi-gen IT into a single environment. They will help you to retire assets responsibly, and they offer options for profit sharing from upcycled and remarketed tech. That means when the servers are sold, you're going to get some money back. That means that you can take that money and then reinvest it in your data center, reinvest it in projects that you've been putting on hold because you didn't have the budget for it. They will help you support the compliance with regional sustainability and data regulations through globally consistent processes, secure decommissioning, and a transparency of chain of custody. And then finally, they will measure and track. This is key. They will measure and track your contribution with the HPE Circular Economy Report, with automated reporting and asset tracking, with year-over-year comparisons to help you track how you're performing and what your progress is against your sustainability goals. And then this report, it will also help you with the environmental piece around the reports on carbon, energy, and your savings. Your savings as a result of the products being remarketed. So don't take my word for it, though. Let's let the industry benchmarks tell the story. HPE ProLiant servers have received 60 performance records and counting with Intel and AMD servers. And while world records are a great baseline for proving the performance and efficiency of Gen 11, the actual ultimate goal is to give customers the confidence to both modernize and deploy next-gen workloads with the price performance and the cost savings from the efficiency that you're gaining from the new technology. So let's continue on and talk a little bit about the portfolio. Talk more specifically about the servers. As you can see, we have a robust portfolio that is optimized to deliver on whatever workload and whatever application requirements you have, whether it's from the edge to the data center, and for AI or non-AI workloads. I want to mention several of these platforms that are on the slide are actually here at Discover. And there are members, product managers from my team that are manning the stations, the demo stations where these platforms are located. So I highly recommend, if you're interested and you want to hear about what's new from HPE, I highly recommend that you visit down on the show floor, and the teams will be more than happy to talk you through the benefits and the value of the various servers that you might be interested in. What we're going to do the next few slides, we're going to meet a few of these platforms. And I'm going to take you a little bit deeper walk into some of these platforms and what specific engineering decisions that we make that's going to add value to you, as well as to be able to deliver the performance that the latest and greatest workloads are demanding. We'll start with one of our newest platforms, the DL145 Gen 11. I'm so excited about this platform. There's a lot of interest in the market, a lot of press, a lot of buzz about this platform. It's engineered for diverse edge locations, compact design. It's ideal for environments that require high performance, such as retail stores, clinics, banks, and factory lines. On top of that, to meet those diverse requirements, it's flexible in the form factor. What do I mean? Well, it can be mounted in a rack, it can be mounted on a desktop, or it can be wall mounted, as you see in the picture in the back. That is a server that's on the wall, not a TV. So I first thought it was a TV first time I saw the picture. And then let's put the icing on the cake, because if this is in an edge location, you're going to be challenged with how to manage it, right? So with all of the goodness of the ProLiant portfolio and the manageability, using HPE GreenLake for compute ops management, you can actually deploy this in a zero-touch deployment and provisioning. You can manage it remotely. You can then also set and protect it for faster, continuous patching policies and ensuring that there are secure connections in order to reduce any security risk in your environment. Two additional platforms fairly new to the portfolio. Two of our newest Gen AI platforms are the DL384 Gen 12 and the DL388 Gen 12. Both purpose-built to integrate advanced GPU acceleration and deliver more than a 5x improvement in AI inference and fine-tuning performance. These platforms are tuned to target workloads at the edge and in the data center, such as computer vision AI at the edge, generative visual AI, and natural language processing AI. Again, two platforms that are actually here at the show. The two product managers, super excited about AI, and they'll be happy to talk you through and kind of share and show you the servers. While the DL384 Gen 12 is designed to scale out by adding more servers to distribute the workload, the 380A is designed to scale up, meaning that to increase the capacity of the performance, you install additional resources, such as memory or GPUs. Now, I know this is a very busy slide, but this is a technical session, so I figured the audience would appreciate this. It is very busy, but I wanted to show the tech specs for the DL384 with the NVIDIA Grace Hopper 200 NVL2s. This next generation solution provides that next level of performance for enterprise AI, ushering in a new era. With this versatile solution, enterprise customers can optimize for scale-out inference of the latest LLMs, maximize their data center utilization, benefit from NVIDIA Grace Hopper 200 NVL2 for a 1.2 terabyte of fast, unified, coherent memory, get 2x higher performance per GPU, and benefit from 3.5x capacity and 3x bandwidth. The DL380 wanted to show the quick specs, or the tech specs here. It continues the success of the Gen 11 version. We have a Gen 11 version of the DL380A in a 2U form factor, and we moved it to a 4U form factor for Gen 12, and I'll explain. It can support, the Gen 12 can support 8 double-wide GPUs to deliver an ultra-scalable acceleration for large-scale generative models. It is also ready to support the latest H200 NVIDIA H200 GPUs from NVIDIA, and it is also ready to support the NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs that are coming. The predecessor supported four GPUs, 4 double-wide GPUs, and we've doubled it. We've also, and I want to call this out, we've also doubled the power supplies. Now, why would you do that? We have 8 power supplies supported on this platform. The significance of that is there is a dedicated power domain just for the GPUs. Now, I like to jokingly say, nobody wants to buy an Aston Martin and only have enough power to be able to put a sewing machine engine in it, right? And that's what would happen if we didn't have adequate power, because you'll make an investment, a significant investment in GPUs. And if you don't have sufficient power to deliver to those GPUs, they will throttle back. So you've just paid for the Aston Martin, so to speak. Now you see my analogy. You've just paid for the Aston Martin, and you're not going to get the performance that you expect and that you paid for. So with this new Gen 12 platform, 6 of the power supplies are dedicated just to the GPUs. That's why we can say we're ready to support the H200 NVL, and we're also ready to support the Grace Blackwell. Very, very significant importance there from being able to get maximum performance out of the platform. And then the good news here with this platform is that all the goodness that we have within the ProLiant portfolio, with ILO, with our manageability, all of the capabilities that we have, that is also sitting within this platform as well. So another great example, and there are many examples in the portfolio. I had to pick and choose, so I chose a few here. Another great example in the portfolio for optimizing to deliver the right levels of performance and efficiency is the server chassis points. Several of the servers are designed this way, but we're going to talk about the DL385 Gen 11. This is the same server you see on the slide. So whether you have a need for small form factor density, storage density, or you have a need for large form factor, and we've always had small form factor and large form factor. But in Gen 11, we introduced EDSFF. You may also know it as E3.S. So whether you have a need from a storage density perspective, is small form factor storage density, or large form factor density, or EDSFF density for more storage capacity, taking you over 500 terabytes, or maybe you don't need the storage density, you want GPU density. So we have a GPU chassis selection that I can support in this particular platform. Several platforms in the portfolio are this way. But I can support 4 double-wide GPUs in this platform. Maybe you need even more storage density beyond that. Maybe you need something for cold storage. Maybe you need something for Hadoop or another application or another workload or another use case. We also have a 48 quantity of 48 small form factor drive configurations. It's an extra long chassis with additional drive cages that, oh, by the way, leave the server running, pull it out of the rack, leave the server running, the cages angle up, and it's all hot pluggable without ever having to bring the server down. So why am I calling this out? Because what we saw and heard from customers was the need to move from general purpose to being more task specific. So we made engineering decisions in a portfolio in order to give customers more choice. Here's why that's really key. Because you don't have to have 10 different server models in your environment and deal with firmware recipes and driver recipes and having to keep up with all of that. You can have, in this case, you can have a single server model in your environment, which is the DL380, this example, the DL385 Gen 11. Same server, different chassis in order to match to your workload requirements. It's all about simplification. It's about reducing the complexity in your environment. It's about making it easier to manage. And then there is liquid cooling. So we have, HPE has 2 decades of experience and expertise in liquid cooling and over 200 patents that HPE holds. Now within the ProLiant portfolio, we haven't talked a lot about until recently. We haven't talked a lot about liquid cooling, but that changed with Gen 11. We had to make engineering choices. We had to make engineering design decisions because we started to see 2 things, 2 interesting phenomena. One, processors. We are starting to get processors that are exceeding a certain TDP that requires liquid cooling. We also are seeing more and more customers that are looking for richer configurations to bring into their environment. Richer configurations translates into less space in the server, translates into airflow, translates into I need to be able to cool it. So we made the decision, made the choice points to start to introduce liquid cooling into the portfolio. Prior to this point, the great engineering from Gen 10 and Gen 10 Plus, air cooling was just fine. But there is a third thing that we're starting to see on the horizon. Is customers are saying, hey, I've moved to a colo, I've moved to a new data center, I already have the infrastructure in place for direct liquid cooling. I know the math doesn't make sense, but I still want to be able to deploy and have everything in my server environment to be all running on direct liquid cooling. So we're hearing that, and we're going to continue to work on this and continue to make changes. Today, in the portfolio, we offer 2 liquid cooling choices. We have closed loop liquid cooling. This is a factory installed, liquid assisted air cooling solution. It functions a little bit, think of it, it functions a little bit like a car radiator. You have the heat that's generated from the motor of the engine, if you're not driving an EV. You have the heat, the thermals that are generated by the engine. The coolant pulls that heat away. It goes to the radiator, and then there's a fan that takes it and dispels the heat. It works the same way. There's a set of fans, there's a heat exchanger, it comes as a kit, it's installed together, and it's actually closed loop, and it's circulating the liquid, a coolant, inside the server. Liquid never leaves the server, it stays just within inside. It enables customers to be able to, they're looking for performance, they're looking for those processors because they need a certain performance for certain workloads. It enables those customers to be able to deploy this and to be able to support those processors. And then we have direct liquid cooling. And that is a full rack contained solution that helps to lower the PUE and lower the operating costs. The platform kit for this, or the server kit for this, includes the cold plate, the hoses, and then it allows you to be able to connect into, and it's fully supported with the HPE direct liquid cooling solution. Great solution, and also look, and I want to share an example. I have a customer that I've recently talked to about a configuration that they want to deploy in their environment. The customer says, when I'm done, there will be no empty space inside that server. Meaning they want to fill every square centimeter of that server with something, with memory, with drives, with InfiniBand, with storage controllers, with 100 gig or 200 gigabit Ethernet controllers, and so forth. And L4 GPUs, they want to fully max it out. We already know there are those corner cases where you kind of have to move towards liquid cooling. And what we will see going forward, right now we have processors that are in the 400 watts of TDP. What's on the horizon, what we're hearing is 500 watt, 550 watt processors. We're approaching it. I read an article from one industry expert that said, we will be approaching the day when you must do liquid cooling or nothing. Don't know yet how quickly we're going to get there, but it is something to keep in mind as you're looking at your next generation of infrastructure you deploy in your environment. I want to wrap up with talking about and coming back to the transformation. So we are in an era of transformation. There is no doubt. You've seen some of the things we've talked about. Workloads are more demanding. Security is a challenge. Sustainability, we got to figure out how to address sustainability. AI, the data explosion. We have all of these things to contend with, and so we are in an era of transformation. Not only is the industry transforming, but customers are transforming as they're on a digital transformation journey. Everything is changing. 5 years ago, Antonio said, the world is hybrid. And it is. And it still remains hybrid. And I like to call it hybrid intensity. It's getting more. Distributed computing, all the things that we talked about earlier in the slide deck. But just because everything is changing doesn't mean we need to be afraid. Neither do we want to just stay with status quo. We see everything changing as an opportunity. But not just an opportunity for us to keep up and to stay with the pack, but we see it as an opportunity for us to accelerate. And with data-first modernization in your sites, HPE ProLiant Gen 11 and Gen 12 is the backbone for your compute needs. It was great to be with you. Thanks so much for being here. And I wish you a great rest of the day. And thanks for being a great audience. Thank you so much.